right, this is Miss Buller, and today we're going to be practicing annotating a piece of nonfiction text. And our goal ultimately is to determine what the central idea of the text is. And the central idea is, in fiction, we call it the main idea. In nonfiction, we call it the central idea, just to make things a little confusing, but they're basically the same thing. So, the history of New Year's traditions is the text we're going to be using. And to set us up for annotation, I just want you to kind of see where we're at. The text is here. We're going to be annotating here. Highlights, annotations, and there is a front and a back to this. Before we begin reading, I would like for you to flip to the back and the very last paragraph. Take your pencil, and I just want you to make a little like box at the end, like this, and I want you to label it Central Idea, because that's going to be what we're shooting for. Okay, at the very end, we're going to pull everything together and figure out what the central idea of this article is. So flip back to the front. And like I said in the mini lesson today in class, that there are certain things that you should do when you're highlighting and annotating your nonfiction text. You're going to highlight the topic sentence of each paragraph, and then you're going to pause at the end of the paragraph and write the topic, what that paragraph was mainly about, just the topic of that paragraph. And then in the end, we're going to collect all of our topics to figure out the central idea. So it's a step-by-step process. Take your pencil, and we're going to go ahead and make a little reminder at the end of each paragraph. I want you to draw a line and just make a little star. So at the end of year, on that first paragraph, just draw a little star. That's a reminder that we're going to pause, stop, and write a little statement about the topic of that paragraph. Then I want you to go to the next paragraph, the end of it. Draw a little line, a little star. That means pause, write the topic. If I'm going too fast, you can pause this video at any time. Take your time, and then you can catch back up. After the word year, draw a little line. That means pause. Then on the back, this is actually a little typo. The paragraph does not end there. It continues all the way down to the word future. So draw a little line, pause star, and then we're going to pause all the way down here at this next future. And that's where we're going to pause, the last pause in the text. All right, so now we know we're going to pause, and we're going to start back up here at the top. I want you to note the title. When you're trying to figure out the central idea of a nonfiction text, a huge clue is probably going to be in the title of that text. You can't always rely on it. Sometimes the titles don't connect with it, but 95% of the time, the title is a huge clue as to what the central idea of the text is. And this one is the history of New Year's traditions. When we get to the end and we determine the central idea here at the end, we're going to check back with the title and see if it does match. All right, the first thing we're going to do is the first paragraph. We're going to read that, and we're going to highlight the topic sentence of that first paragraph. So take your highlighter, please. And I would like you to highlight that first sentence. People have been making New Year's resolutions for at least 4,000 years. Now, the topic sentence of this paragraph, everything typically is connected back to that main idea, okay? That topic sentence, 4,000 years, people have been making resolutions. And we talked yesterday about making your own resolutions. So you're following a long tradition. Now, as we read the rest of this paragraph, we're going to take a pencil and you're going to highlight key details. So just follow along with me. The transition to the new year gives people an opportunity for reflection on the past year. It also gives people the yearning for change, renewal, and improvement. People known as the ancient Babylonians were the first recorded people known to have made such resolutions. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I think that's an important detail. We're going to underline ancient Babylonians are the first recorded people known to have made resolutions. And I think you might know a little bit about the Babylonians from social studies class, but you might not know that they were the first ones to make resolutions. A resolution is a promise or a commitment for self-improvement. 4,000 years ago, the Babylonians celebrated a new year in March when their new crops were planted. The Babylonians celebrated their new year over an 11-day period with a special festival called Akitu. At this time, people would pay back things they owed to others, such as food or money, and they would also return things that they borrowed from the previous year. If the ancient Babylonians fulfilled these commitments, they were thought to be rewarded by their gods in the upcoming year. So I think that we have one good detail here, because remember, our topic is it's been going on for 4,000 years. And I would probably underline this last detail here because this is their why. Remember, we talked about the why yesterday. The what is your resolution, but the why do they do it? Well, the ancient Babylonians wanted to be rewarded by their gods. So those are two good details. So now we're going to pause, and I want to think back, what is the main topic of this paragraph? A good place to look is that topic sentence. And, it's basically the topic sentence. So if you would write Babylonians, it's baby, Lonians, were the first to make resolutions. That's the topic of this whole paragraph is about that topic. And we're going to follow that same process for the next paragraph. Take out your highlighter because we're going to highlight that topic sentence first. The first person to establish January 1st as the start of our calendar year was an emperor named Julius Caesar. Now, I know you know his name. So, did you know that he was the first? He actually named January 1st as the beginning of the calendar year. You may have known that. I didn't know that until I read this article, so I find that very interesting. Now we're going to look for details that support that topic sentence. The word January, or looks like Lanuaris, that's the word in Latin. It's derived from the Latin word Annius, which means door. That's interesting. That's a stem that means door. The door represents a welcoming to the new year. The word January also derives from the word Janus, which was a god that symbolized the beginnings and transitions. Janus also symbolized arches and doorways that people passed through to further symbolize the act of reflecting on the past year and hopes for good things that would come in the future. All right, so our topic sentence is Julius Caesar established January 1st. Some details. I would think that the meaning of January, it means door. Okay, it also means, I know I'm circling and I asked you to underline, but it's okay, we can circle too. The word January, the god means, it symbolizes, beginnings and transitions. And hopes for good things that would come in the future, because that's what all of this is symbolic of. Good things, thinking about the future, transitions. So I would probably say the main topic of that paragraph, it does talk about Julius Caesar, but the whole paragraph's not about Julius Caesar. The whole paragraph is about January. So I would say the main topic of this paragraph is January represents, or if you wanted to use the ELA term, you could say symbolizes new beginnings and that great word, hope. All right.